Hello and welcome to this episode. We are going to talk about a dream with some deliverance in it, which is something that we all experience. And I'm talking today to my friend John McConomy from
Bear, Delaware.
And we're going to let him share a dream and process through it. Let's see what he has to say. So, what about this dream, John? This is a very interesting dream.
It's quite interesting. So, I was in my basement and I needed to use the bathroom in my dream. And in my basement, there is a couch right next to the bathroom. I had two close friends that were sitting on the couch. They're married, and they're a little bit of an older couple. And I walked into the bathroom, and I tried to turn on the lights, but the lights weren't working. So I sat down on the toilet, and I went to shut the door, but I left it a little bit open. Like I didn't shut it all the way.
Okay, so you were obviously comfortable with this couple.
Yes.
Yeah, because you really weren't worried about privacy.
Yes.
But when you went in, the light wouldn't go on.
Right.
Okay, so being in the darkness is usually going to represent more of a condition of just not understanding what's going on. So let's see how the rest of the dream plays out. Go ahead.
Right, and they were talking on the couch outside the bathroom, and so I could still hear them talking. So I closed the door, but I could still kind of see in the bathroom. And I used the bathroom, and I got up, and I opened the door, and I didn't wash my hands, which is kind of weird. But I left, and they were still talking on the couch. The wife was sitting across the couch, and with her back up against the arm of the couch, and her husband was leaning up next to her, and his head was laying on her chest, and they were
Sort
talking.
of spoony.
Yeah, it was pretty cute. And so I walk over to my closet, which is across from the couch, but right in the eyesight of the wife sitting on the couch. And I open the closet, which has my clothes and my twins' clothes in there. But instead of my clothes, there was a bunch of girls' clothes. And
Girls' clothes. And you said it was like young girls' clothes.
yes, it was in between the ages of like 8 and 13, 8 and 12 years old. And there was 2 rows of clothes, one on the bottom and one on top. And it was mostly pink and purple, which is kind of how I knew it was girls' clothing.
Yeah.
And what I was looking for a specific hanger. I had it in my mind. I need to find this hanger.
Okay.
And I was looking over towards the left of the closet for this hanger. And as I was looking, I heard my friend sitting on the couch. Were you looking
to the left or the right?
I was looking over towards the left of the closet.
Okay.
Yeah. And as I was looking, I heard my friend, the wife in the couple, that she was sitting on the couch, she was saying, yeah, look more over towards the left. Keep looking towards the left. Okay. I was like, okay, I got it. And I kept looking, and I found a hanger. It wasn't the one I was looking for.
Okay.
But I picked it up, and I was like, okay, this one's good. This'll work. This'll do the trick.
All right.
And so that was great.
Was there anything else in the closet?
Right. The last thing that was in the closet was there amongst the little kid clothing. There was a couple really long, pretty dresses, and there was only a couple of them. They were blue and purple.
Okay.
And they were towards the middle. Okay,
in the middle.
Right,
okay, that's significant. Okay. All right, so you go to the bathroom, you do your business, whatever. You don't wash your hands. The reason you didn't need to wash your hands was because you just went through deliverance, right? Because going to the bathroom is really often about a level of deliverance, and healing even comes into that sometimes. You know, that those levels of inner healing that you can get from deliverance. So then you go over to the closet like you're looking for clothing, right? The couple, your friends, are still on the sofa, and they're very comfortable on the sofa. Now, I really wonder if the husband and wife might represent, like, you know, the spirit, you know, kind of creator and spirit kind of watching after you, right? Yeah. Just watching over you. And they're very comfortable with you. You're very comfortable with them, obviously. So you're in fellowship You're obviously intimate with the spirit and with Creator. So that all makes sense. Then you go over to the closet, you're looking at the clothes, but it's all like little girly stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but you did say that it was, and really that pink purple, that really fits in that sort of that age group, that 8 to 12. They love pink and purple. But 8 to 12 is, that's really good. 12 is actually in the Hebraic, if we look at but it's not only Hebraic. In several cultures, that age around 12 is when we sort of come into our own. So we're beginning to come into, for the Hebraic culture, manhood, or so they do a bar mitzvah, or for a woman, it's a girl, it's a bat mitzvah, right? Mm-hmm. That's when we're coming into age, and they call that age of accountability. Okay? So that was the age of the clothing. So it was your dream. So it's about your maturing and coming from that age, hitting that age of accountability and of understanding, right? Now, the two dresses in the center actually make perfect sense because centered or balanced, which would be the way Spirit and Creator would talk to you, is the color blue and purple. Blue is about an illumination or an understanding or revelation of something. And it makes perfect sense because it would be about the revelation of the message of the dream. Mm. And the purple dress is about royalty, or about being living in the fullness of who you're created to be, right? That royalty, that the fullness of your creative intent, of your design, right? We're really created with purpose and with intent. And so that's what the purple is about, right? Now, that the dresses were longer, that's interesting too, because they're also a covering similar to, remember in the Hebraic, the priests always wore robes that were long. They went to the floor. So that's like a priesthood, which also connects with the royalty.
Oh, wow.
Right? In a kingdom. So you're covered. And you're covered like the son of a king, or like a priest or king or prince. So look at sort of all those connotations. Now, let's address the part about it being all girly clothes.
Yeah.
Because you're not girly in any way, right? So that had to be like, what? What was that about, right? But this is the deal. One of the things I immediately saw in you, John, was this very deep sensitivity, empathy, right? Not femininity, empathy and sensitivity. And that sensitivity is to Creator and to the Spirit. But because you have that sensitivity to Creator and to the voice of the Spirit, you also have a sensitivity and an empathy to humans, to other people. So that's part of who you are. So the girly is not, also think about the couple on the couch, sort of canoodling, they're sort of spooning, right? They're very comfortable in that environment. If they represent Creator and Spirit, then Creator God is like, the male part of God, in my opinion, and Spirit is like the female. In ancient texts, the Spirit is actually described as the many-breasted one who nurtures and loves, right? But we get our identity from Creator God. So this whole dream is really about your identity. And you had to go through the deliverance before you were prepared. See the process? You had to go through the deliverance, but you were very comfortable in there. You couldn't see what was going on. So So you didn't have full understanding, but you came out after your deliverance. You were clean, you were pure, you'd left some things behind, right? There are things you can't take into a new season, right? You can't take all that baggage. You can't take all that stuff. That stuff has already been processed by the body. It's already been used. It's void of nourishment. So you've already received the nourishment. So now you're coming into this place of revelation. So the dream itself is talking about being the message that it's giving you. It's almost like the dream is about the dream. Does that sort of make sense?
It's crazy.
It's kind of like, I know, right? And that happens a lot. It's like, yeah, you don't have a gender identity problem, right? You know that.
Yeah,
I know
of
that.
course.
Everybody that knows you knows that. But you have a sensitivity that comes from spirit, like from Mama God. You know, if there's a daddy God, there has to be a Mama God, right? Because he's all things. And in the spirit, there is technically no gender.
That's wild.
I know. We can't wrap our minds around that sometimes.
Yeah.
So some people that would have this dream, they would really be concerned about having a gender crisis or an identity crisis. But it's really not about gender at all. And pink is the color, a light pink, a pale pink is actually the color of innocence. Well, you just went through deliverance, so you're pure, you're innocent. And again, the purple is about that it's about your authority in the kingdom, your royalty, your creator God's prince, his son. Isn't that beautiful?
That's beautiful.
I mean, what a crazy, I'm sure you had that dream and you're like, what the heck? And that dream would confuse a lot of people. But this is the deal. A lot of people have dreams like that, and the opposition will always try to convince you that you're confused about who you are. The opposition will always try to keep you confused about who you are. The reason is, and I say this in almost every interview, at almost every dream interpretation, the minute you figure out who you really are, that you have authority in the earth, you have authority in the spirit realm, you're then going to cause trouble to the opposition that's in the environment and the atmosphere in the earth. And so that opposition is always trying to convince you that you're something besides your true created intent. Because Creator's heart intent for you, right, is the truth of you have authority and you have this stunning empathy for people that is actually from His heart, but it's in you. And it makes you very unique and very special. Not feminine, just special. Isn't that beautiful?
That's awesome.
I love that.
So cool.
What a great dream. Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
And
you're
not
welcome.
everybody would want it. Not every guy I know would have the identity and the confidence to share that dream. They'd be like, oh no, I'm not sharing that dream, right? Right. Thank you. That was really awesome. I love
course.
that dream. So John, being that clothing represent your attitudes or belief systems, how do you think this dream, and interesting that you had to have a very specific hanger and it was to the far left. We forgot to even address that part. The right, the direction, the right is usually about our natural lives, our natural thinking, reasoning, our intellect. But the left direction is usually about the spirit. And you were already looking at the spiritual side, but then Mama God says, look a little further into the spirit. Look a little deeper into the left, right?
Yeah.
So that you have exactly what you need to hang your belief system on, but it wasn't the one you were looking for. It's not the hanger you were looking for. So we all have those preconceived ideas, right? We have an idea that's in our reasoning, right? In our sense, our reasoning, our intellect that we think we need, but typically it's not really what God is doing. So it's always interesting to see what he's doing. So since you got the right hanger and all of that, and you've heard sort of you've probably processed through, you've sort of heard the interpretation or my interpretation of the dream, and it resonates to some extent.
Yes.
What do you feel like is sort of the result of that, of the dream, and how is that affecting your confidence, how you walk, how you live? Because every dream actually has a purpose, and it would be easy to have that dream and go, that was pizza. I had pizza for dinner last night, right? Everybody does that. So because we took the time to process and to see the value of what's there, how's that going to affect your life? How's it affected you so far?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say the biggest thing is just what resonated most with me was the confirmation of the desires of my heart, which is for other people, and kind of compassion and empathy, which I guess is symbolized in the dream by those colors and kind of that feminine, what we would consider feminine. And it kind of goes against what our culture thinks is what a man should be. So I really, it's just an encouragement for me just to embrace that compassionate side of myself and empathy. And then in regards to the message where the dream itself was kind of a message for the dream, maybe part of it for me that's just kind of resonating is that what I thought the original meaning of the dream might be wasn't what the actual meaning was, because I was looking for a specific hanger, but that wasn't the one that fit for me. So just like you said, Melody, the Spirit, the Holy Spirit was telling me to look a little bit more spiritual.
Right.
Don't really focus on the natural, what I think.
Right, don't try to reason this out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I love that. And the structure that you're going to hang your attitudes and your belief systems on, those are very important. They're like the framework of a building, right? You hang you put you build your walls and your structure around you. Well, that's part of what you build around your heart is your belief systems and just going back, because this is such a good dream for this reason, and thanks for sharing that. But I'm so glad that you brought up the part about the gender thing, because masculinity and femininity are actually, they should be integrated into one. As we look at the fullness of who Creator God is, again, He's mama and daddy, He's male and female, right? And if we look at the works of Jesus in the Bible, in that ancient text, right? He was extremely compassionate. That's what drove him, was his empathy, right? He wasn't judging, he wasn't harsh, he was certainly the man of all men, right? So I think being masculine effectively has got to also include those pieces, because Jesus himself, God himself, is all those things. He's feminine, he's masculine, he's all those things, right? And we try to separate things and we try to judge based upon what society would say is who we should or should not be. But the reality is all of us have all of that gender, both genders in us, so that we can operate in life in all of the things we need to do, right? You can't be just girly, you can't be just, right? You've got to have heart. I mean, a true man still has heart and compassion and empathy, or what good is he? And a true woman has to have reasoning and practicality, or what good is she? Right? So it's interesting the way God works and the way He has designed us so beautifully, which is why in the womb we don't actually have sex organs for a while. We have organs that will go both ways. Yep. And then the gender is established. and the equipment to go with that. But we have the ability, it's a 50-50, that's why it's a 50-50 chance. We have both available to us. But in our emotions and in our hearts and in our spirits, we have both. We will always have both, because in the spirit there is no gender. But we have to be able to operate on both sides. Beautiful.
Interesting.
Creator's a genius.
Yes, he is.
I love that. Well, I hope that this dream has explained some things that will answer some questions for some people. It's such a good dream, and John was so extravagant and so sweet to share with us. He's just an awesome guy. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll do this again because John's a big dreamer. So until next time.